At the Save the Chimps facility in Alamogordo, New Mexico, chimpanzees enjoy retirement from biomedical testing. The chimpanzees also continue to relocate to a 150-acre cage-free facility in Florida. However, just down the road from Save the Chimps at the Alamogordo Primate Facility, retired chimpanzees may be relocated to once again be used for testing. For Save the Chimps Sanctuary Director Jen Feuerstein, caring for chimpanzees continues to teach her more about life.
To see these chimps welcome retirement, welcome all the changes that they've been given, and not hold resentment towards human beings because of what has been done to them in the past, to me is a really powerful lesson. It's a lesson in forgiveness, and a lesson I think for humans to remember also, that no matter how badly you've been treated, you can always find it in your heart to forgive.
Since the 1950s, the U.S. Air Force has used chimpanzees for testing in New Mexico. In the late 90s, the Air Force decided to no longer use the chimpanzees and put them up for bid. The winning bid was the Colston Foundation in Alamogordo.
They turned most of the chimpanzees over to the Colston Foundation. And the Colston Foundation had a terrible record of chimpanzee care. They had had a number of unusual and cruel chimpanzee deaths,
explains Feuerstein. However, in 2002, the Colston Foundation went bankrupt, and the late Dr. Carol Noon, the founder of Save the Chimps, a nonprofit group, took control of the chimpanzees.
Overnight, Save the Chimps became the world's largest chimpanzee sanctuary, rescuing 266 chimpanzees from the Colston Foundation.
But some of the area chimpanzees ended up at the primate facility on Holloman Air Force Base, where they live in a sanctuary free from testing.
We have chimpanzees who are related to chimps still living on Holloman Air Force Base.
And Feuerstein says that many of the chimpanzees living at the Alamogordo Primate Facility and here at Save the Chimps lived in complete isolation in these tiny cages for years and years.
Well, some of the chimps are in very good health, but other chimps are definitely suffering from long-term effects of being in research and being in captivity. Many of our elderly chimps suffer from heart disease or kidney disease. Some of the chimps suffer from psychiatric disorders.
25% of the chimpanzees that Save the Chimps are elderly, and it's taking them a while to get socially integrated into families so they can be moved to Florida. 82 still remain in cages at the Save the Chimps facility in Alamogordo.
We have migrated the rest of the chimps to our facility in Florida. We have 150 acres in Florida that has been expanded into basically what is a city for chimpanzees. We have a dozen 3-acre islands. Each island can accommodate a family of about 25 chimps, and they are allowed to live cage-free on these islands. They do have access to very secure indoor housing, and of course we provide care for them all day long. We provide their meals, we provide their enrichment, we clean up after them. So we have a very large staff dedicated to their daily care.
All of the chimpanzees living here at the Save the Chimps facility in Alamogordo are scheduled to be moved to the Florida Sanctuary within the next year. But just down the road at the Alamogordo Primate Facility on Holloman Air Force Base, where our cameras are not allowed, 186 chimps are in line to suffer a different fate. Although the chimps have not been tested on for 10 years, the National Institutes of Health plans to move them to a lab in San Antonio, Texas, where they will once again be used for biomedical research. A move many people are against, like New Mexico State Representative Nate Cote.
I think the right thing to do for these 186 chimps that are left would be to leave them here and not move them. Somewhere over $10 million went into the current facility, and that facility probably could not be used for much of anything else.
Program Director at Animal Protection of New Mexico, Laura Bonner, is also against the move.
You know, they've given everything they can give. They've given their bodies, they've given their children, they've given their health for research to benefit human health.
The National Institutes of Health claims the move is necessary so chimpanzees can be used to find a vaccine for hepatitis C. According to Bonner, the U.S. is the only developed nation still testing on chimpanzees, and there are now better ways to find a vaccine.
You know, they've been using chimpanzees to try to develop a vaccine for hepatitis C for 40 years without success.
After spending time with the Alamogordo Primate Facility chimps, Representative Nate Cote would feel a heartache if the chimps are allowed to be tested on again.
I would hate, it would hurt, I would feel pain, emotional pain. That in fact that they were, doing invasive research, whether it be, cutting out parts of the liver or whatever they do, injecting them with certain drugs that would make them ill and stuff like that.
Save the Chimps Sanctuary Director Jen Feuerstein also doesn't think testing on chimpanzees is effective.
I think it's questionable. Chimpanzees react differently to viruses, for example. So hepatitis doesn't make them sick like it does a human. HIV doesn't make chimps sick like humans. Chimps don't get cancer like humans do. Even the heart disease that we see in chimps is different from heart disease commonly seen in humans. So I'm not so sure that they're a very good research model.
Laura Bonner feels the decision to move the chimps is money-driven.
And then they also have said that they can make $70,000 per chimp per study by using these chimpanzees. So that's not money that the taxpayers are going to see. That's money that's going to go to the lab.
According to Nate Cote, where the San Antonio lab might gain, the economy in Alamogordo will suffer if the chimps leave.
And it's going to be an economic impact for this area. We're talking $3 to $5 million that goes in the economy because the chimps are out at Holloman. We have had at one time 42 workers out there.
Local rancher Bob Nichols will be hit hard financially if the chimpanzees leave Alamogordo.
It's going to be tough. We've survived before, but it's going to be real tough.
Nichols has provided the chimpanzees with apples for 28 years.
I'll lose the market for my lower grade of apples, which normally they call a C grade. It's the processing apples that they use for applesauce or juice.
And Nichols says if the chimpanzees are moved from the Alamogordo Primate Facility to Texas, he and his orchard here stand to lose $29,000 a year.
And we're kind of by ourselves, and so there's no processing plants here. The nearest one is approximately 600 miles north of here. And by the time we haul processing apples up there, the only thing we're going to get out of it is maybe $3, $4 a box, and it won't even pay the shipping.
Nichols also doesn't feel testing chimpanzees is the right thing to do.
I think at one time, my opinion, at one time, it may have been necessary to do research on with the chimps for medicines and things. But with the technology we have now, I think they could probably do without it.
Save the Chimp Sanctuary Director Jen Feuerstein wants the chimps permanently retired.
They've been not used in research for 10 years, and it doesn't seem right that they should be suddenly sent back into biomedical research.
Laura Bonner with Animal Protection of New Mexico thinks there still may be a chance if there is a big enough public outcry that the chimps can be saved from testing.
The National Institutes of Health is a federal agency and it's funded with our tax dollars. So I don't think it's too late, We live in a democracy, and now is the time, especially for everybody to speak up, to tell National Institutes of Health how you feel about this plan.
For Jen Feuerstein, saving the chimps is the best thing she can do.
I feel very proud of the work I do, and it's very, very rewarding to give these chimpanzees a new lease on life.
How do you feel about the chimpanzees?
I love them. I mean, that's the bottom line. They are my family, they're my friends, and I feel very strongly and passionately about them. I really love these chimpanzees, and so does everybody who works here.
For KRWG, I'm Jared Andersen.